Hi, everybody. Welcome to Children's Literature for the Spring 2019 semester. My name's Terry Lassane. I'm your instructor for the course, and I want to take some time to review the syllabus before we get started with the assignments and due dates and the rest of the things that go into this class. So you can follow along with me here on the screen. You'll see that I'm not going to go over every bit of the syllabus. It's a rather long document. I'm sure you're used to that. But I do want to point out the highlights, the first of which is how you get in touch with me. There's my name, Terry Lassane. I am in room 139 of the Teacher Education building. It's called the Garrett Teacher Education Center if you're looking for it on campus. That's a mailing address for me. The office number is 936-294-1151. The fax is 1153, and my office is 3673. If you leave me a voicemail, it's forwarded immediately to my cell phone. So don't worry about getting in touch with me on days that I might not be in the office. You can also email me at lis_tsl@shsu.edu, or more simply, Dr. L at shsu.edu. My office hours will generally be on Tuesdays. I arrive by 8. I usually am leaving by 4. But if you need a different time, you can certainly arrange that by an appointment. Give me a call and we'll do that. I'm also online and available 24/7. So if you leave me something online in terms of email or a voice message, I will pick it up when I get up in the morning. So it's a good way to get in touch with me. Don't use the virtual office hours. I always forget to check those on a regular basis, and it might languish there. But do email me or give me a phone call. As I said, the voicemail will come to me via my cell phone. The course description should seem pretty familiar. This is a course that's intended to teach you all about literature for children and how to use it to motivate kids to read, how to use it in the library, and we'll certainly focus on some multicultural literature while we're at it. These are your idea objectives. These will be the ones that I really want to see you succeed at doing over the course of the semester. Gain a broader understanding of intellectual and cultural material, gain factual knowledge, and develop specific skills needed by professionals. There are lots of skills that I could list here. Those 3, I think, are the most essential. Now, let's get down to brass tacks. Textbooks. There is a textbook for the class. It is online. It is free. Dr. Perry and I wrote it because most textbooks for the class cost a lot of money, $70, $80, and we think that you'd be better off spending that money on books that kids might actually read. So when you click on this link, it will take you to the table of contents for our textbook. Each of the table of contents for the textbook is a link, a hyperlink. So when you hit on introduction, it will take you to the introduction for the class. I probably ought to have this so you're viewing it as you might see on your particular screen, but don't worry about it for right now. These are the different chapters for the book. You can see they go from 1 all the way down to 16. What makes a good children's book? So here are some chapters for you to look at. They are going to, I think, give you information that you need in order to really be able to look at the information for this class. In addition to the textbook, we have required reading. These are the books that will be read by all class members. They don't have to be purchased. Most libraries, public libraries, school libraries, and bookstores will have these. You can certainly go to bookstores and sit down on the floor and read all the picture books in a matter of minutes, for that matter. So let me go through them very quickly. They are in alphabetical by author order, and there is no particular order to how you are going to read these, so don't worry about that right now. You're going to read a book that won 6 different awards in 2018. Crown, An Ode to a Fresh Cut. You'll read a Newbery winner from a couple of years ago, El Defo by C.C. Bell. You'll read some nonfiction, How They Croaked, The Awful Ends of the Awfully Famous, which is a lot of fun in addition to being nonfiction. You'll be reading Dear Mr. Henshaw, published in 1983. It won the Newbery in 1984 and is the first children's book that deals with divorce in a household. You're going to be reading Karma Agradidi's Martina, the Beautiful Cockroach, published by Peachtree. It is a wonderful kind of fable story that is Hispanic in nature. You can also find this in audiobooks with Carmen Agradidi reading the story and also doing it as a storytelling session. Both of those are wonderful. You're going to read Matt de la Peña's That Should Be Last Stop on Market Street. It's amazing how I see typos after everything's put up online. You're going to read Last Stop on Market Street. That was an award winner from 2015. You're going to read, as we will always read, I believe, The Legend of the Bluebonnet by Tommy DePaulo. We live in Texas. The bluebonnets will be blooming this particular semester. We know that. And this is a legend, a story about how we got the bluebonnets, why they are the particular color, and why they grow in so much abundance. You'll read Newbery winner, The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. You may also instead read the graphic novel version. Either one will do. You'll read a Caldecott and Coretta Scott King award-winning book, Rosa by Nikki Giovanni, illustrated by Brian Collier. It is a short biography of the life of Rosa Parks. You'll read Ruby Harris's It's So Amazing. It is a book about sex and sexuality and bodies and changes that occur. You're going to read Jenny and Matt Holm, who are the editors, Comic Squad. There are 3, I think, in the series. You may read either one of the Comic Squad. They have Recess. I'm trying to remember the other 2 titles. I can't remember right now, but you can certainly look at them. You're going to read Cynthia Lord's Rules, which is a Newbery winner, about what it's like to be a regular kid, quote unquote regular, in a household where you have a special needs child. It is kind of a different way of looking at kids who need special help when there are other people in that house too. You'll be looking at Kadir's incredible illustrations and reading his We Are the Ship, just a wonderful collection of biographies. Likewise, we'll be reading Catherine Patterson's Bridge to Terabithia, a Newbery winner, as you can see, from the 1970s. I've tried to scatter the reading that you're doing among the different decades so that you can see how children's literature changes but ultimately remains the same. You'll be looking at The Invention of Hugo Cabret from Brian Selznick, the first Caldecott winner that was longer than 32 pages, a lot longer than 32 pages. We'll read Maurice Sendak's Where the Wild Things Are. We will always read Maurice Sendak's Where the Wild Things Are. It is the king of children's books. We'll look at Marilyn Singer's incredible poetry book, Mirror, Mirror. We'll look at Lane Smith's It's a Book, which is kind of a hilarious look at technology and how that doesn't replace the book at all. We'll look at David Wiesner's retelling of The Three Pigs. And finally, we'll look at Jackie Woodson's Brown Girl Dreaming. She won several awards for that in the last couple of years as well. So those 20 are the books that everybody will read, same title, same author, same edition, whatever. In addition to those, though, you're going to read a book from these authors. There are 20 of them. So you'll read a book by Kwame Alexander, Crossover, Rebound. There are lots of different books there. Make sure that the books are for children and not for older readers. Nick Bishop has a lot of animal and insect books. Margarita Engel has picture books as well as novels in verse. Melissa Sweet writes nonfiction. Mo Willems, certainly, I hope you all know The Pigeon, but he has other books too. Jason Reynolds is a fairly new author in the field of children's literature, but his work has won a lot of acclaim, and rightfully so. Then go back and look at Christopher Paul Curtis's Watsons Go to Birmingham, Bud Not Buddy, The Journey of Charlie Little. There are lots and lots of books from which to select. You'll read Carmen Lomas Garza, who is from the Valley and has written about Valley culture. You'll look at Jason Chin, who does an awful lot of illustration in nonfiction books. Dan Santat has won Caldecott Awards in the last few years, might even be up for one this year, who knows. Nikki Grimes, an African-American author who writes novels in verse and as well as traditional kind of novels. You'll read something by the late Virginia Hamilton. She's won a lot of Coretta Scott King Awards for her books and won Newbery as well. Walter Dean Myers is another Unfortunately, late Walter Dean Myers, another author who has left us, but he left us with a legacy of books, including Jazz, illustrated by his son, Christopher Myers. You'll read a book by Eric Carle. I'm willing to bet that you know Brown Bear, or one of the other books by Eric Carle. You'll read Ezra Jack Keats, Peter's Chair, The Snowy Day. Lots of wonderful books by him. Jess Keating writes nonfiction books about unusual plants and animals. And Faith Ringgold, whose books include Tar Beach, one of my favorites. And finally, you'll read a book by John Sheska, true story, The Three Little Pigs comes to mind, and Grace Lynn. This is all in an effort to get you to look at a variety of authors, to let you look at authors that write about Hispanics, that write about African Americans, that write about Asian communities, that write about a variety of different characters as well. There are other reading requirements for the course, and we're going to get to those in the syllabus. I'm now going to kind of skip over a few things because you can kind of read these on your own. And I want to get to the course requirements because usually the first question I get from a student is, okay, so how do I get my A? Well, you get your A by completing these assignments and doing the best you can. Here is that additional reading I talked about. In addition to the books that we just went over, you're going to read 50 additional books for children. Before you panic and run for the hills, most of these 50 books are going to be picture books. Picture books are 32 pages by and large, and so they're easily read in a short period of time. So don't really panic. This is not a heavy load. When we get to due dates, I'll show you when these separate things are due. The books have to meet the requirements that I've listed here. They're going to be turned in as 5 separate annotated bibliographies on different dates, which you will prepare as if they're something you're going to give out to kids or to parents or to the community on a family literacy night. And you're going to put them on the blog that you're going to use for this class as well. More detailed instructions for this assignment are found at the live binder for this class. So here we go. You're going to read 10 Caldecott or Caldecott honor winning books. The books should cover about a 30-year range. So we're in 2019. You should go back at least to the 1980s and look at some of those books too. 10 books from the New York Times bestseller list for children. Picture books from January through December of last year. The copyright date has to be between 2016 and 2019. 10 books from the Put a Belpre Award list. That can be winners and honor books, and you can certainly focus on illustrations there as well. 10 Coretta Scott King or honor books for illustration. They too should cover a 30-year range. The award was started in 1972, so you should have no problem going back in time. And finally, 10 books from the Geisel Award or honor-winning books. So that will give you a wide range of looking at the awards that are given for children's books as well. Note that this is an assignment worth 100 points. You're turning in 5 bibliographies. That means each one is worth 20 points. I've given you some tips here, starting with the due dates in which you're going to turn those assignments in. Note that you can turn them in at any particular time. They don't have to be in, you don't have to turn in the Caldecott first, and then, you can turn in the Coretta Scott King or the Geisel, whatever you finish first. You're also going to blog the required books, and that's a total of 40 books. The 20 books that are on the first and second page of the syllabus, and the 20 books you select using the authors. There are 2 due dates for that. You're going to turn them in 2 pieces, 20 books on April 19th, 20 books on April 26th. That's way down the line, but it's something you should be working on just as soon as you can. Your textbook assignments, you're going to complete. You're going to be reading the chapters, so chapters 1 through 5 will be due January 25th. So if you look at the table of contents, that means you're going to look at these 5 books. These 5 chapters, and after you read them, you're going to give a synopsis of each chapter. You're going to talk about what you've learned, what you still want to learn. Detailed instructions for these are going to be at LiveBinder, and they'll also be posted. These will also be posted you'll post these to your blog as